And my practice, my private practice now is more and more becoming that I only work with people who are interested in learning about meditation and using meditation as part of the practice, because that has the real wisdom, and that has the real unlimited possibilities. If you're working with a personality or a person, there's very limited possibilities there because of their conditioning, because of the limitations of the way they think and the way they see things. So that's there. And it doesn't really give the person an opportunity to discover a possibility that offers them a much greater outcome in terms of discovering the possibility of waking up and experiencing your true nature and getting access to the view from there. The view from there is a different view. And so until you begin to practice meditation, you only know the truth as a conceptual idea. And it's not a conceptual idea. So what you consider to be the truth that you know conceptually isn't it. That's not it, okay? And one of the frustrations that a lot of people experience is that because they listen to the Dharma talks and they have a conceptual understanding about non-duality and about wisdom and about the truth and about your true nature, they think, how can it be that I understand these concepts and it's not changing my life the way that they say it could change my life? You know, how come that's not happening, right? And that can be very frustrating for people, okay? It's not happening because the truth is an experience, it's not a concept. So the concepts, the function of the concepts are to give you an idea of what's possible if you were to experience reality. It's to give you an idea of what's possible if you were to experience reality. But those concepts are not the experience. If you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu, that's not the food. You know, that's why that's a good metaphor for this, right? Because it's like if you were looking at the menu and you're saying, how come when I read the word hamburger, I don't taste hamburger? How come when I read the word hamburger, it doesn't satisfy my appetite for hamburgers, right? It can never satisfy your appetite for hamburgers because it's not the hamburger. It's a concept about the hamburger, right? And so in the same way, the purpose of the talks are to stimulate you, motivate you, inspire you to want to have the experience of the truth, which comes through the practice of meditation. Because in meditation, we're not sitting there thinking about the concepts about the truth. No, we're not sitting there thinking about anything now. Now we're making ourselves available for the reality of what I am, not thoughts about it or concepts about it. I'm making myself available to experience the reality of what's occurring. And because for most people, they have not yet in their life experienced the reality of what's occurring, right? That through doing something like a retreat over time, right? Eventually it starts to dawn on you that what this is all about is something that's always here, has always been here, will always be here. Yeah? And because now you have an experience of it, you have some experience of it that you can work with to begin to see if you can have that experience start to open up instead of be a glimpse. That you could, but you have to have the glimpse first, you see. You know, recently I've been talking about this business of this practice of brief moments of awareness many times, right? That Candace O'Denver talks about, right? She's talking about something that happens for people after they have established a consistent meditation practice over time, right? If you establish a meditation practice that has the correct intensity, the correct authenticity, the correct attitude and everything, and you're doing it the way it's meant to be done. And when I say you're doing it the way it's meant to be done, I mean you're doing it like it's the most important thing in your life. You know, if you really, see, this is the thing. If I could snap my fingers and everybody in this room would realize together at the same time the truth, right? After that, if I said, who'd like to go to a retreat, everybody's hand would go up. Do you understand? Because if you realize the truth, you would realize there is nothing more important in your life than being awake. If you don't wake up in this life, you will have dreamt your life. You will have dreamt your entire life and then die. And you will have never actually been there in your life. And that's what makes this the most important thing. The other thing that makes it the most important thing is your ability to deal with the circumstances you find yourself in your life will be ill-equipped. Your ability to deal with the circumstances you find yourself in will be ill-equipped because they'll be limited. Your ability to deal will be limited by your personality. And your personality is a very small database of thoughts, a very small database of memories, compared to everything that's possible that could happen to you, right? No wonder people suffer. No wonder people go through such difficulties and struggles in life, trying to figure out what to do and how to be, to have life work. Because you're operating in a deficit. You're operating with a very small, limited ability to function effectively in the world. Right? If you understand that, if you come to an understanding about that, then you realize that not only is it the most important thing for you to wake up so you could experience being in your life and experience life, right? But it's also the most important thing for you to wake up so you could deal with the circumstances you're in effectively. So you could see them with a perspective and with a point of view that allows you to recognize all the different possibilities that you have for acting and speaking that could effectively work and make a difference given your circumstances that you could not see unless you were awake. Did you see that to be the case? Yeah, you realize that, you know, that once you've experienced, even if it's for a brief period of time, once you've experienced the experience of your true nature, right? Now you have a patch of truth. Now you have a reality that has come into existence in your world, as small as it is. No, as small as it is, right? You can take that reality now and work with it. Before you had that reality, you had nothing to work with, nowhere to go. You were just in the form of a person, and as in the form of a person, all you could do is think the person's thoughts, which comes from a very limited database from your memory, right? All you could do is act out the patterns that your brain's playing, right? There's very little you could do to get out of that. If you go to psychotherapy, you might be able to have some improvement in your behavior, some improvement in your attitude, some improvement in your moods, but not too much, not too much. Psychotherapy isn't going to be that dramatic. If you want a dramatic change, if you want to have a transformation, if you want to experience a whole new possibility for living, right, then you've got to leave the personality and come into the experience of the natural state, which is your true nature. Yeah? That possibility is the possibility for freedom. That's why in my private practice now, I screen people. You know, I used to have this naive belief that because I am in a profession that's supposed to serve people, that I should take anybody that shows up, right? That was a mistake. Oh, I suffered from that mistake. So now what I do is I have a consultation and I'm evaluating the client, right? And if they don't seem to be amenable to this process that I work with people in, I tell them, I'm not the right person for you. You should go find another psychologist that's doing conventional psychological work, right? So that means that I have a smaller practice, but the practice I have are with people who are interested in this kind of work, and they're interested in doing this kind of work, right? Which works better for me, right? Because I am not interested in doing the conventional form of psychotherapy, right? I think it's messy. I think it's very limited. It doesn't guarantee any outcomes at all, right? And so why continue to do that, you know? If you know there's a better way that does work and has profound ability, has a profound potential to change people's experience and the way they behave, why would you not do that instead, right? But of course, if somebody's not ready for that or not interested in that, then that's not for them. That's not for them. If you come to me and you think you're a personality 100%, right, and I'm awake, right, I can talk to you from outside that system. I could talk to you about the system you're in from outside that system, and I could point out how your system is working and why it's dysfunctional, you see. Same thing is true when you go to a retreat. Two times a day you meet with the teacher. The teacher's awake. So when you walk into that private room to meet with the teacher, right, the teacher's going to look at you and get a read on you in terms of where you're at. If you have any questions, they'll answer the questions, right? But if you don't have any questions, the teacher's going to get a read on you and start to talk to you in a way that supports and assists and allows you to begin to recognize what is available in your practice of meditation. That's a lot. That's a big deal, right? It's a big deal. You know, to have a relationship with an awake person that you meet with 2 times a day while you're in this retreat.